Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm compiling Salesforce interview questions. So there are around 50 questions that I'm putting in this set, and I'll be uploading more interview questions in the upcoming days. So the idea is to give you complete set of interview questions. So whenever you have interview and upcoming interviews, so you can just refer these set of questions and prepare for your interview in no time. So let's go and get started. So what is Sandbox? Sandbox is a copy of your organization in a separate environment that you can use for a variety of purposes such as testing and training. Sandboxes are completely isolated from your Salesforce production organization. The operation you perform in your sandbox don't affect your Salesforce production organization. Number two, what are the different types of sandboxes? We do have four types of sandboxes available in Salesforce: Developer Sandbox, Developer Pro Sandbox, Partial Copy Sandbox, and Full Copy Sandbox. Here are the difference. So Developer Pro Sandbox have 1 day refresh interval and space is 200 MB. Um, in Developer Pro Sandbox, the refresh interval time is same 1 day, and but the storage is more 1 GB. And in Partial Copy Sandbox, the refresh interval time is 5 days, and the storage is 5 GB, and it has same metadata as production org. So uh, basically, it's a more or less the same copy of production org. And the last one is Full Copy Sandbox. The refresh interval time is 29 days, and it has same as production org. Basically, we can copy all the data, all the files that we have in the production org. So this sandbox is useful for end-to-end testing and UAT testing. So number three, what do we mean by refresh interval of sandbox, and what happens when we refresh the sandbox? A refresh interval is a period for the sandbox when the next refresh will be available. For example, if we refresh the developer sandbox, it will be available for refresh after 1 day. So let's understand what happens when we refresh the sandbox. When we refresh the sandbox, it gets the latest metadata copy from the production. If we have done some changes in the sandbox which are not available in production org, so refresh will basically just overwrite your changes that you have performed, and you will have the same metadata of the production after the refresh. Number four, what are read-only fields? Read-only fields are those fields which are available to view only and user cannot edit them. For example, formula fields, auto number fields, roll-up summary fields. What is external ID field? An external ID is a custom field that has external ID attribute, meaning that it contains unique record identifier from a system outside of Salesforce. When you select this option, the data import wizard detects existing records in Salesforce with external IDs that match those values in the import file. Number six, what are the different types of relationship fields available in Salesforce? So there are six type of relationship uh, we can establish in Salesforce: lookup relationship, master detail relationship, many-to-many relationship, self relationship, and hierarchical relationship, and external lookup relationship field. So let's understand each relationship. What is lookup relationship? A lookup relationship is a type of relationship in Salesforce that allows users to link two objects together without creating dependency between them. Through this relationship, we create one-to-many relationship where parent object is on the one side and child object is on many side. When we have to create lookup relationship, we create relationship field on the child object that refers the parent object. Lookup relationship is a loosely coupled relationship, means there is no cascade deletion effect on the child record. If we delete the parent object record, the child object record doesn't get deleted. Also, it's not mandatory to fill lookup relationship field when creating the child record. What is master detail relationship? A master detail relationship is a type of relationship in Salesforce that allows users to link two objects together by creating dependency between them. Through this relationship, we create one-to-many relationship where parent object is on the one side and child object is on the many side. When we have to create master detail relationship, we create master detail relationship field on the child object that refers the parent object. Master detail relationship is a tightly coupled relationship, means there is a cascade deletion effect on the child record. If we delete the parent object record, the child object record also get deleted. Also, it is mandatory to fill lookup relationship while we are creating the child record. Child object also inherits sharing and permission setting from the parent object. We can also create roll-up summary field on the parent object through which we can summarize the child object records on the parent object. What is many-to-many relationship field in two objects? There is no direct field available in Salesforce through which we can create many-to-many relationship. However, through junction object, we can establish many-to-many relationship between two objects. A junction object is a custom object with two master detail relationship, and it is the key to making many-to-many relationship. For example, contact roles is a junction object between opportunity object and contact object, and that establish many-to-many relationship between opportunity and contact. Number 10. What is self relationship in Salesforce? In Salesforce, a self relationship is a lookup relationship to the same object. It creates a tree diagram of the object, creating a hierarchy of records within the same object. For example, the account has lookup on himself called parent account. A self relationship can be created on the contact object, linking a contact with another contact in the same object. 11. What is hierarchical relationship in Salesforce? Hierarchical relationship is a type of relationship that can only be used on the user object in Salesforce. It is designed to create a hierarchy of users where one user can be associated with another without referring to themselves directly or indirectly using lookup field. For example, it could be used to store each user's direct manager in custom hierarchical relationship field. What is external lookup relationship field in Salesforce? External lookup relationship is a foreign key relationship between any object, uh, custom, standard, custom, and or external, and an external object. It is used to create a relationship that links the object to the external object whose data is stored outside Salesforce. It allows a relationship to be formed between two external objects. For example, you can tell Salesforce that a field on one object corresponds to the external ID field on an external object. What is roll-up summary field? Roll-up summary field is available on master detail relationship. We can perform following operation through roll-up summary field: min, max, count, and sum. Roll-up summary field is created on master object. Basically, it summarizes the child object. So, for example, if you are interested in seeing the total number of opportunities on account, then we can use count operation that returns the count of the related opportunities on account. 14. Can we convert a lookup relationship to master detail relationship? Yes, it's possible to convert lookup relationship to mastered relationship provided lookup relation have data in each record in child object. Since it is mandatory to have a lookup record on the child object in master detail relationship. Can we convert master relationship to lookup relationship? Yes, we can convert master detail relationship to lookup relationship, provided it should have any rollup summary field. It should not have any rollup summary field. So in order to convert, we need to remove any existing rollup summary field on the master object. 16. Can we delete user in Salesforce? We cannot delete user in Salesforce. Instead, we can deactivate them to restrict their access in Salesforce. Typically, users own accounts, leads, and groups and can be on multiple teams. However, merely deleting a user can result in offend records and the loss of critical business information. So that's why Salesforce does not allow users to delete from the org either. uh, so it just offers the option to deactivate them to restrict their access in Salesforce, and by deactivating them we can free up the license as well. What do we mean by freezing a user in Salesforce and how it is different from deactivating an account? So let's understand. In some cases, we cannot immediately deactivate a user. If the user is basically a default owner of leads, default or automated case owner, default lead creator or owner, default workflow user, recipient of workflow email alert, a user selected in custom hierarchy field, a customer portal administrator. So in basically in those situations, Salesforce prevents user deactivation and shows message that user is the default owner or the recipient of workflow email alert or whatever with the case. If Salesforce prevents user deactivation, then we choose the freeze account option in order to prevent user access in Salesforce. Then remove the user from the mentioned list, then later deactivate the user to free up the Salesforce license. What is the difference between deactivating and freezing a user? So basically, as discussed, deactivating a user not only blocks the user access in Salesforce, but also frees up the Salesforce license. Whereas freeze only blocks the user access in Salesforce. It doesn't freeze up the Salesforce license. What is delegation administrator in Salesforce? Delegation administrator is one who performs administrative work apart from the regular Salesforce administrator with some limited admin privileges. For example, if the org is quite big, in order to share the workload of the admin, we can delegate some admin work to sales manager to some admin work for their sales team, like resetting password, unlock user, creating and managing public for the assigned users, and edit user in specified role and all subordinate roles, assign users to specific profiles, assign or remove permission set, assign and remove permission set groups, log in as user who has granted access to the administrator. Number 20. What is profile? Profile is a collection of permissions and settings that determine what user can do and perform in the org. Like what apps are available in the app picker, what tabs are visible to the user, what objects user can access, and what permission user have on each object like create, read, edit, and delete. What is permission set? Permission set is also contains similar permissions and settings that are available in profile. The purpose of the permission set is to extend the permissions of the user without changing their profiles. Can we assign one profile to multiple users? Yes, we can assign same profile to multiple users. So suppose there are sales users, so we'll be just creating sales user profile and we'll be assigning the same profile to 20 users, 50 users or 100 users depending on the org. Can One user have more than one profile? No, user can have only one profile. Can one user have multiple permission set? Yes, we can assign one or more permission sets to one user. What is permission set group? Permission set group is a combination of one or more permission set. What are org-wide default settings? OWD setting determine the level of access on the other user record which users do not own. Number 27, what are roles in Salesforce and what is the purpose of roles in Salesforce? We create roles in Salesforce to set up role hierarchy in the org so that we can use with sharing setting to determine the level of access that user have to Salesforce org's data. What is the difference between role and profile? Roles are basically set up in the org to create role hierarchy so that level of access on the records can be determined, whereas profile determines the functions that performs in the org based on his role. And it is not mandatory to specify role while creating user record in Salesforce. While we need to assign profile, while profile is mandatory while creating a user record in the Salesforce. What are sharing rules? We use sharing rules to extend sharing access to users in public groups, roles, territory when OWD is anything less restrictive than public read write. Sharing rules gives particular users greater access by making automatic exceptions to your org-wide sharing settings. What are the types of sharing rules available in Salesforce? There are two types of sharing rules available in Salesforce, owner-based and criteria-based. What are the steps involved in creating sharing rules? So here I have given example of owner-based sharing rule. So we specify rule names, specify the rule type. So it could be owner based or criteria based, specify owners whose records to be shared, owned by public group, roles, and subordinates territories if territories are enabled in the org. Specify owners to whom records to be shared with the owner owned by public group, role subordinate territories. Then we specify the level of access. Uh, could be read only, read write. What is manual sharing? Manual sharing is a way of sharing record manually through sharing button. In order to share a record, user should be one of the following. Could be record owner, a user in a role above the owner in the hierarchy, a user with the modify all permission for the object, or a system administrator. How can we how can we view which user has access to your records in Salesforce? When viewing a record, we can view list of users who have been granted access through sharing. The list includes their access level and an explanation and shows every user who has access that greater than the org-wide default settings. 34. Can we create multiple users records in Salesforce? On the UI, we can create single and multiple users. We can create up to 10 users record in through user interface. What are the mandatory fields that needs to be filled in order to set up users in Salesforce? Alias name, username, email, first name, last name, locale, language, email encoding, time zone, currency, profile ID. Not profile name, but rather than the 15 character ID from the URL or the profile in the UI. What are the two superpowers available in system administrator profile? So there are two superpowers available, view all and modify all. These permission provides the ability to view and modify all data in the org. These two permission override any sharing restriction. What is field level security? Through field level security, we can restrict view and edit access on the specific fields. Basically, it restricts access on detail and edit page, related list, list views, reports, search, email and merge template, the partner portal, Salesforce customer portal, and imported data. What happens if you make the particular field required on the page layout but you have kept the read only through field level security? The most restrictive will apply. In this case, the field level security overrides the page layout and the field will remain read only. 39. What is a group? A group consists of set of users. Group can contain individual users, other groups, or the users in the particular role or territory. It can also contain the users in a particular role, territory, plus all the users below that role or territory in the hierarchy. 40. Types of groups. Public groups. Administrator and delegated administrator can create public groups. Everyone in the organization can use public groups. For example, administrator can create a group for an employee carpool program. All employees can then use the group to share records about the program. Personal group. Each user can create groups for their personal use. For example, user might need to ensure that certain records are always shared within a specified work group. 41. Use of group. We can use groups in the following ways: to set up a default sharing access via sharing rule, to share records with other users, to specify that you want to synchronize contact owned by other users, to add multiple users to Salesforce CRM content library, to assign users to specific actions in Salesforce knowledge. 42. How you can resolve insufficient privileges error. If you cannot access a record or perform a task like run a report, you most likely don't have the required permission or sharing settings. Normally, we see the insufficient privileges error if we don't have the right access on different levels. For example, our profile prevents us from accessing the account object, or your role prevents you from accessing a case record. You can also see an insufficient privileges error when you click a link to a record or a visual page 4 page tab to which you don't have access. What are scoping rules? Scoping rules let you control the records that your users see based on the criteria that you select. You can set up scoping rules for different users in your Salesforce org so that they can focus on records that matters to them. User can switch the set of records they are seeing as needed. We can filter the records by division, brand, record owner. Consideration for modifying scoping rule. So deleting custom fields that are referenced in scoping rule results an error. To disable a scoping rule, first delete the list view reports that have filtered by scope selected. After a scoping rule is disabled, list view and reports are not functional or nor modifiable. The scoping rule user criteria field support custom permission. If you delete the custom permission, the scoping rules that you use, the custom permission don't work. Scoping rules support custom pick list value in record and user criteria. If you delete a custom pick list value in scoping rule, the rule no longer work as intended. While doing the import, do we have to specify record owner? It is not mandatory to specify the record owner while doing the import. Salesforce will assign the ownership of the record who is performing the import. In case of parent-child relationship, what happens if you don't specify the parent record while performing the import for child records? Import will fail if the parent record is not specified. For example, in order to import opportunity records, you need to specify the account ID and owner ID. So the import should be uh, performed in this way: users, then accounts, then opportunities. What is the difference between data import wizard and data loader? Data import wizard is the import tool that comes with the Salesforce by default. It is available for admin and other users who have required permissions, whereas data loader is an API tool that you have to download on your device. It is available for admin. It does not support opportunity. This data import wizard does not support opportunity and cases, whereas data loader supports all custom and standard objects. Data import wizards imports up to um, 5,000 records, whereas data loader loads up to 5 millions of records. Okay. Uh, Data import wizard does not support delete and export operation, whereas data loader supports all DML approach operations: insert, update, upsert, and delete. And also we can export data from Salesforce. What is the difference between export and export all operation in data loader? So export operation, through export operation we can transport the records from the Salesforce to CSV file, whereas export all operation will not only um, transfer the records from the table, but also records which are residing in the recycle bin. What is the difference between delete and hard delete operations in data loader? Delete operation will delete the records from the tables and move the records to the recycle bin, whereas hard delete will delete the records permanently. Uh, how data loader behaves when bulk API is enabled. So when bulk API is enabled in data loader, it allows you to load or delete a large number of records faster than using default SOAP based API. One important difference is that it allows you to do hard delete if you have the permission and license. So that concludes the video. In the upcoming days, I'll be uploading more videos in the Salesforce admin interview series, and that will basically help you to prepare for an upcoming interviews. Thank you, and please let me know if you have any questions or any feedback.